And we're streaming.
Okay, we ready?
Yes, sir.
Welcome this evening to the residents attending in person and those joining us via our live stream to the February 10th, 2026 East Manchester Township Board of Supervisors meeting. Please join us in the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I understand we have to amend our agenda. Christy, would you go down over where we're amending?
Yes. So I had never taken off Hillwood's plan. Hillwood is not here tonight. It's ESC Management Services LLC for 25 Devcoach Drive, truck parking and storage facility. It's a final land development plan. They were already at Planning Commission. So we need to strike the Hillwood language and add ESC Management Services. Now, I did catch that earlier today, and I updated the website already as an amended agenda. And then, later on in the day here, after I already printed all of these, I found out that my date for Planning Commission is wrong, and it should be the 24th of February, not the 17th. So it would be under 7.2 and 11.2.2.
I'll make a motion that we approve the amended agenda.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, January 5th reorganizational minutes. Anyone wish to make a comment or a question or a correction or an approval?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented for the reorganization meeting on January 5th.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, that moves us into the regular meeting of the January 5th, 2026. There's two different minutes.
No edits or comments, so I'll make a motion to accept the Board of Supervisors January 5th minutes as presented.
I'll second the motion. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And that takes us down to our last meeting that we had, January 20th, 2026, the joint Board of Supervisors meeting with the Planning Commission meeting. I looked it over pretty intensely, and I'll make a motion that we approve as presented.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Takes care of the minutes. Public comments. Is there any public comments from residents at this time? Yes, sir.
Mike Rittenhouse, developing heat in our road extended, Manchester. I'd like to make a comment on the public services, that they're picking up the receptacle cans. They never seem to put them back in the same place, they're always farther out on the street. Seems like it's always a problem, but with this snowfall we've had and the snow on the road, cans are farther out. So it seems, what I've noticed was the recycling truck always puts it about a foot farther into the road when they set the can back down. So maybe that's something you can bring up to them here, maybe that's something wrong with their truck, or they just have, they're just trying to drop them off too fast to get to the next house.
Thank you. Anyone else have any other comments?
Because it was later on the agenda that I saw earlier today.
No,
And
I'm,
it got changed, and then I can't be monitoring you guys 24/7, so.
No, the public comments in a regular meeting is always at the beginning. You might have read previous or agendas because we have a couple different sets of agendas on the website. Okay.
Okay, my name's Jeffrey Witzer, we've all met before. I'm here, I guess, with some of the same things that I raised before. It has to do with the data center. And I would echo, I think, the reference the lady made to the fact that it's really difficult for us to make public comments on a report that hasn't been published, that hasn't been made public, and has not yet been discussed by the supervisors. So I would at least ask that we be guaranteed the opportunity to speak on that report once it's published, and the opportunity to comment on it after it's before the board. And I guess what I'm understanding is to say that opportunity would like to come at the next meeting. Is that correct?
So pretty much in a nutshell, in this meeting, this is a regular board meeting. This isn't a meeting that's directed at data centers, though there's a small portion that's going to be within this meeting, but that's because it's a formality in order to get it pushed out to the planning commissions and advertised, and then it'll be, put out on our website and everything. Tonight, one of the things that the attorney plans to talk to the board about is, setting a date. And I think I hammered out a date with the fire department already, so I think we're going to talk about, having a public hearing in April where everyone will get to talk again based off of what's going to be published out to the public and advertised. The last time we put the ordinance out to the public, it was actually not a public document. We did that just so that we could get the feedback, which we have been doing the whole time. I mean, from the first public hearing to every single meeting that we've gotten comments, our attorneys constantly tried to, adjust per all of the public comment. And we address so much health, safety, and welfare in this ordinance, and it's more than any of the other ordinances that we have ever had. So, did I answer the question, or did I not answer the question? Okay. But so just in a nutshell here, I think everyone's getting confused at where we're at in the process, and this is our regular board meeting, not the data center focused board meeting. So yes, you're right. In some of those data center focused ones, they were more work group things, so that the boards could have discussion with the attorney to make some changes or to get some kind of direction. So public comment was limited, but that's because the public will have very detailed, you can come up and talk and everything in the public hearing like you did in, was that in October? I think it was October.
Well, I see it appears on your agenda tonight, so I'll try to be brief. Last time we were here, we talked to the board about including our property in the overlay, because our property is presently surrounded by a donut, as we pointed out before. The overlay boundaries are unreasonably clear. They're based on the property line of the initial landowner who proposed this property as a data center location. It's not a property line that's been created as a result of any real consideration on the part of the board or even the planning commission. It tracks his property line. And that's happening when a reconstruction or another proposal could be constructed to allow for bigger buffer by topography in addition to whatever buffers are provided for in the ordinance. I'll be brief. The current proposal, we believe, does not equitably treat similarly situated landowners the same, and that the Board of Supervisors now have a chance to address those issues, which are likely to come back to the board as variances and rezoning requests based on hardship findings. And finally, I would invite the Board of Supervisors and the Planning Commission as well to visit on site, take a first firsthand look at the topography, distances, and get a better knowledge of the property, because the zoning map doesn't even tell part of it. It doesn't address topography. I invite you to my property, where you can stand and see nearly every border, because as we said before, we're surrounded by your proposed overlay and are in the middle of it. I'd be happy to set up a date and time, to have supervisors individually as a board, the planning commission individually as a commission, come and take a first-hand, look at all this. The only map we've seen is not very detailed and incorrectly identifies the subject land as agricultural, when in fact it's R2, and in my opinion, it's not a very accurate description of the borders. Zoning maps are never intended to do that. So again, I repeat my invitation, and we might get a chance to pursue it further. Thank you.
That is one item that the solicitor will bring up tonight is the parcels that were put on the request for the last meeting. So we will discuss that tonight. Yep.
Thank you for your comment. Mrs. Lowe?
And my, statement is pretty much,
Can I have your name, please?
Cheryl Lowe, thank you. I want to begin by acknowledging the work that you guys are doing on this ordinance. It's clear that it is carefully written from what I've seen up to this point, very strict, and obvious lots of thought, and I'm sure sleepless nights. From setbacks to operational standards, this ordinance anticipates many of the real-world impacts associated with the data center. We've all appeared to do your homework on data centers and their impact, and I appreciate the time and thought processes that have gone into it. I also recognize that what is not expressly covered here is addressed to other ordinances already in place, which shows that this is not being done in isolation, but as part of a whole structure that has been evolving over the years to protect the East Manchester Township community as much as possible. Overall, I want you to know that I like where you're headed with this ordinance. That said, my concern and the reason I'm here is about where our parcel sits in relation to the overlay. Our parcel indirectly adjoins land that may be developed for a data center. Whether we are included or excluded from the overlay does not change the burdens we will experience, but it does determine whether we have any real enforceable protection. We have been told, and I appreciate the sentiment, that if walls are cracked or if our water is impacted, we would be taken care of. But respectfully, those are verbal assurances, not guarantees. They do not run with the land, they do not find future boards, and they do not help us if problems arise after occupancy. And that includes the occupancy of the data center. Randy and I are in a position where we would bear significant risk and absolutely no formal protections. If issues arise 3 to 5 years after a facility is operating, when this board may no longer be seated, future supervisors will be left to interpret an ordinance that did not include our property potentially, and we'll be left trying to prove harm after the fact. Excluding our parcel means we carry substantial burden without benefit. It also means our property value will almost certainly decline further, not because of anything we have done, but because of adjacency to the Saginaw Sewage Treatment Plant and the intense use for a data center without the zoning framework that anticipates and manages that relationship. Including our parcel in the overlay does not weaken this ordinance. In fact, it strengthens it by ensuring that impacts are addressed comprehensively, fairly, and predictably, both now and for future boards. For those reasons, and with respect for the work you have done, I ask that our parcel be included in the overlay district. I'm placing these concerns on the record for the township's consideration as the ordinance moves forward. Thank you for your time and careful thoughts with this while you're approaching this ordinance.
Thank you. Next.
Is this a 3-minute rule, or are you like to spend that with it?
Mm.
Oh, is it 3 minutes?
Mhm.
Okay. Hi there, Renee Davis.
Could you give your name and
Renee Davis. Hi, Renee Davis. I'm unfamiliar with how the process works, other than having I have 3 minutes to speak. I'm going to be fast, which I'll do with technology, so you can take back and slow down. I'm not here to object to data center coming into this area, it can have benefits. I try to stay uninvolved in his play, however, as the superintendent of Kentucky Basin County Schools has stated, saying we must be hundreds of pages of farmland without regard to the impact, without regard to the impact is the least scare tactic, and in my opinion, it's a regurgitated scare tactic. According to PA Data Center proposals by Borderlands, has already been bought by a data center developer. As a layperson, it's weird, it's unsettling that we are changing rules so that it can happen. Before I assume anything, which makes an ass out of all of us, I have some questions to try to clarify who y'all make the decisions for. Clear who serve the community at large, the same one that voted you into this seat, that trusted you to make decisions through due diligence and proper process, or is this a coordinated effort to keep certain details hidden along with the long-standing informal influence channels not reflected in the public process? I understand my questions may not be answered tonight, but I request that my statements, questions are added to the public record and the public responses provided at your 2 minutes. Full transparency for those involved tonight, I submitted a right to know request to the township on January 27th after I found suppressed and non-applicable information. Firstcensus.gov, if certain information is redacted, it can suggest intentionally hiding activity patterns or reduce public visibility of warehouse development. If anyone would like to see the specifics, I ask to have a copy, again, we're on limited time. Coming up short, here are my questions. If existing warehouse facilities are vacant, can the township explain what demonstrated need justifies the Section 7 amendment that y'all just approved tonight, removing warehouse use while creating a data center overlay, and why the shift is being advanced to spot zoning agricultural land for use unrelated to its unintended purpose? Who was consulted or briefed prior to public notice of the proposal? How does the township ensure that early access does not translate into disproportionate influence? Specifically, what non-elected stakeholders had input prior to public notice? What policies are in place to prevent long-standing personal or business relationships from outweighing current community impact when land use decisions are made? How can residents verify on the public record that all stakeholder input is documented equally and that no informal influence occurred outside the official process? How do we ensure that pressure from outside the township doesn't substitute for our own good judgment about what is right for your residents? The board stated many times at the January workshop that they learned from the warehouses and wanted to minimize the negative effects and maximize the benefit. What specifically were the lessons? How specifically are you mitigating that with this current project? What exactly is the benefit? Who's absorbing them? As well, what is the specific negative effects and who's absorbing those? What impacts are we willing to accept? And by we, I mean y'all, because I'm not sitting up there, but I hear you have an MVC, so watch out. The broader system has normalized negative effects where we're going to accept them locally. If someone were to read the records of this decision 10 years from now, what values are guiding your decisions? Finally, what would it look like to pause? Not to stop progress, but to reassess alignment. Once you destroy farmland, it is gone. And I realize we're not here to talk about data centers or that land. And there's a process. However, in my limited vision of what you provide to the public, it is constrained, it is inflated in wrong areas and redirected so that people do not participate. You have individuals that bully community members that want to participate, and really, it just makes me want to look at your processes and how you behave and make decisions, because this is disappointing at us. Thank you. And I have a copy that I can submit, because I did read on this a little bit, but I don't see the secretary too. Is that this one back here?
For the record, you'd submit it to me. You would submit it to me.
You're the secretary?
I'm the secretary.
Okay, fantastic. I'll get your copy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your comments. Next, yes.
Connor Eady, I'm with ESC Waste Services Business Disposal. Just wanted to talk quick about.
Excuse me, are you a resident?
I'm not, no.
Well, then, we're not going to listen to your comments tonight.
Oh, I thought it was in public commentary.
But it is for residents, tax-paying residents.
Oh, okay. All right.
If you have anything written down, you can give it to the secretary.
All right, thank you.
Next?
Yeah. But I think he was trying to comment.
NQS 290 Manchester Street.
He's here.
I really have to sit here and wait my time because I've been listening to this so long. As a member of the planning commission, we have been talking about this for 4 or 5 months, and I can see 3 people in this room, 5, I'm sorry, that have been here, nobody else, and now you're here.
That's a bullying, my friend.
Because No.
everybody cannot be here all the time, that's why we.
Well, I can't be here all the time when I
Do
show
you
up.
have children, do you have a full-time job, are you?
Oh,
Nope, nope.
No,
I know,
no.
I'm not.
Mr. Hewitt, no, don't entertain, we're not going to have debate.
No. So I just,
You're gonna look directly at me, I'm gonna respond.
I was counting.
You're out of order.
I bet.
Anyway, I just want to tell Shane that, that thing is not working. the
stop sign?
More operators than,
The stop sign,
yes.
I can't be there to enforce it, that's a police matter at this point, yep.
I see three people. They run the stop sign continuously.
Yep.
Now they run it all over the place. But I appreciate you putting it up.
Yep, we tried, but yeah.
I went through it once, it was old habit, you know, sorry.
I told, Mike, I made it halfway through the other night.
Same here, I did the same thing coming down Manchester Street.
Are the lights still working, Mr.
They
Deere?
are, yeah, the lights are still on, they come on at dusk and
Yeah.
go through the night.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's helped a bit, but yeah, it's never perfect.
Turn your mic on, turn your mic on. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, moving on. Moving on to special request, the Republic Services Contract Optional List Extension. Basically, I'll let the manager explain
Sure.
it. She'll have the details.
So pretty much in a nutshell, there's one more extension. Republic is offering, and they're willing to extend for one more year. As we were told by, I went and I consulted with Attorney Miller. And then, of course, I've even spoke to managers at the managers' meetings and things. This is definitely the lowest price we will see. People or other municipalities that are getting bids, they are much higher than this. Everything is going up. And so I would actually recommend to take the last year extension, just for the fact that, we should really stay at the low end of what these are coming in at in bids. So I'll just read it. I'll read it for the public record. Right now, the current rate is, look at you, yep, 85.14. And low volume, that's regular, and then low volume is 52.71. This is a quarter, this is per quarter. The extension rate would be $88.38 for the regular service, and then for low volume, it goes to $54. And Republic even ate the cost, and they're willing to continue to eat the cost of what, what was that called? The tipping fee. Yeah, they ate the tipping fees. So, and then, just to let you know, Red Line Borough, they're at $94.50 a quarter. And Seven Valleys is at $91.41 a quarter. So, just to give you some examples there, a couple meetings ago, before we had this information, we were getting ready to have our attorney to start, the bid process and things. But in light of this new evidence and offer, this is what staff recommends, is to go with the extension.
Okay, what's board's wishes?
We'll just kind of summarize. I mean, the bottom line is, if you're on the higher end, it's an increase of $3.24 a quarter, or just under a 4% increase, and that was negotiated as part of the contract. So, and clearly from the other things, I mean, I've got to believe we're going to probably experience north of a 10% increase at some future date, given what's happening. So
Unfortunately.
based on this, I would recommend that we do the extension for one more year. It's in our contract, it's a good rate for our constituents.
Please put it in form of a motion.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion that we accept the extension of the Republic contract services for the July 1st, 2026 through July 1st of 2027.
It'd be June 30th of 2027.
June 30th, sorry.
Yep.
2027.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion. I think from what I understand from other municipal officials within our area, that Republic's doing a better job, I think, than some of the boroughs are experiencing.
I'll tell you, at the managers' meetings, there seems to be a lot of municipalities that are still one Penn Waste or with Penn Waste, and they are having a much more miserable time than what we are. Yep.
Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Steve, that's just one quick general question.
Yeah.
By law, with our amount of residents, we have to recycle, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we all know that the amount of recycling is collected, probably 10% of that is that gets recycled and goes to the regular trash. So, and one just quick question. So we could just double the trash pickup or add the trash pickup, but we can't legally do that for the residents and requirements, number-wise, right?
That's right.
So anyhow, just something important to notice as you go into next year, or think about next year when it comes up, maybe we could incorporate dumpsters for pickup at the two fire companies, because that's the one thing then, that they wouldn't be paying out of their general fund, and all the residents then share that cost.
Yeah, but they're in the boroughs.
Yeah.
We could do that for the police department, but since they're in our township building.
I think they do get free service. I think they do. I think they're written into the contract.
It's a good thought, though.
I mean, yeah, I understand the boundary things, you can't do it because of the borough and township and stuff like that. It's just a thought process.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Christie, please pass along that recycling bin complaint that we had.
Yep.
Okay, that takes us to the request for the New York Roadrunners Winter Series race. It's an annual event. They're just asking to use our roads. There's no funding or anything involved with that. Am I correct?
Correct.
So I make a motion that we approve the request for the Roadrunners to use the roads. They always take care of their own.
I will second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
We're not required to run them.
No. Thank goodness. I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Takes us down to our annual York County Quick Response Team donation request. Mr. Albright, do you have anything to say about this?
Nope, we tabled it from last year.
So this is the request from last year that we tabled, pushed it along.
Yeah, we had gotten 2 requests in the same year, but it was because they were just being due diligent and they were just trying to get requests out for the beginning of the year, really. And I was too quick for them. But so last year, you did donate $500. That's been pretty consistent for a few years now since we first started receiving the request. And Daryl, I'm going to let you explain the difference, in regards to what that entity, receives in funding and things and how it's different, this donation's different.
Yeah, they solicit the municipalities to fund for equipment and ammunition, vests, rifles, whatever they need. The police departments themselves donate their officers' time to training, sending them out for training. They do monthly trainings, and then also on call for events.
So I'd like to reiterate our more or less rule we have for when we make donations. We make donations to agencies that directly benefit the residents of East Manchester Township. So if it doesn't directly benefit our people, we don't consider it. But the Quick Response Team does benefit our citizens. So
I'll make a motion, we donate $500 to the York County Quick Response Team.
I'll second the motion. Further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Takes us to one more, a York County Envirothon donation. Did you get any response back from the school?
I did. So they wrote back and said that in the intermediate school, 19 students total are in the Envirothon, and 12 of them compete. In middle school, it's 28 students total that's involved, but 12 compete. And then in the high school, she didn't give me the total number of students, she just said that 12 are competing. So there's at least 59 students or more involved in the Envirothon. And once again, this is a request we receive every year, and you have consistently donated $500. I didn't note this for the last item, but just to so note that we do budget for donations in our budget.
Okay, and this has been budgeted for.
Correct.
Okay, since it does benefit our Northeastern students, so I'll make a motion that we approve the $500 donation to York County Envirothon.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Chief, your report, please.
We did miss it for when Scott was talking, but just everyone, just so you know that if you do want to, if you end up talking and you're acknowledged by the board to grab the microphone, we have one sitting where Julie is, just so you're aware.
Good evening. Hopefully you had a chance to review the monthly report as well as the annual report. The only thing I would add or reiterate is I've talked about this in the past few months, and I've included it in the annual report. We're in the process by federal mandate moving from our reporting system, which was previously NFIRS, to the new NERIS system. So the next couple of months, the reports may look drastically different in that it won't be nearly as detailed. We're currently not able to put any information into that system just yet. It's being built for us. When we signed the contract, they told us anywhere from 90 to 120 days. We seem to be moving rather quickly. We're probably about 20, 25 days into it, and we've made significant progress. So I'm hopeful by the end of this month we will be able to start getting information added into that system so that there's not too much of a lag time there in the reports. We'll get all the reports eventually. It's just that the next month may just be general numbers.
Okay.
If you have any questions, I can glad to answer them.
I do. Thank you. Thanks for the invite to the appreciation banquet. Great report. Appreciated the information. I did have a question on your relief audit on, it says May 4th, 2022, Relief Association issued a check and apparently was tilted. Was an arrest made in that case? You know, did you ever recover the money?
No, that wasn't, and truthfully, from our standpoint, we were really disappointed, because no one really has an interest in pursuing this type of events. So what the Supervisor Albright is referring to is, we had a check that was stolen from the post office box, the red and blue box outside the post office. Someone stole the checks out of there, and ours was one of them. They whitewashed it and changed the amount. You can call it the amount was.
It was 14,000 or something. It was a really large amount from a very small check.
Yeah. It was
You had 244 and it went to 12,440.
Actually, the only, excuse me, the only one that was really interested in doing anything about it was an insurance company. The bank wasn't interested, the police department really wasn't interested, the post office wasn't interested. It was a very disappointing process. I guess to answer your question, was the money recovered? No, but we were covered by our insurance, so we didn't lose any money.
Okay. And just so the public understands, there was no wrongdoing on Union Fire Company or any of their offices.
And there were obviously other checks that were stolen from the post office box as well.
I was curious if they were able to make an arrest or something.
No, it really didn't go far at all. You know, we called them repeatedly and stuff. They just kind of washed their hands and said, happens all the time. We can't really do anything about it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? Thank you, chief. That includes 611 through 13, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go 6.2. I wasn't at the last,
Yep. I have a couple things to report. The RACP.
this is York County Regional Police
I'm sorry.
Report.
The RACP grant was accepted by the Commonwealth for $775,000, and that's to upgrade, expand the main building on Oak Street. The JAG direct allocation awarded $10,700 grant through York Township, and they're working on the funds for the police department. It created a grants administration of grants. This is a temporary thing, and it's the coordinator has provided sample and encouraged the department to have a grant policy to work from for all the grants that they've been applying to. And Samantha Dorm is going to be the coordinator on that. We had a cadet start the police academy on January 12th. There are several vacancies, for future vacancies coming up. One officer's going to resign and move back home spring of this year, and one officer will be retiring in July of 2026 instead of February of 2027. The police department started a messaging program, and as the officers interact with complainants, they can go on to a messaging app for the police department, and they've given out very good feedback of the officers, and this is shared with the officers, and administration looks at this. So the question would be, how would you rate the officer interacted with, that you interacted with? And they got the 4.97 out of 5 from 29 responses. And then how satisfied are you with the department? Got 4.77 out of 5 total score from 77 responses. So the program is giving good, valuable feedback to the administration and to the officers. That's all I have.
All right, and I
Can I ask
see,
a question, please?
yes,
Joyce Daniels. We were at the meeting, and a motion was made and carried in that we will not have any meetings up at our end of town. Is there any way to amend that motion?
I guess it should be brought up, because that's the inquiry I made, that they were all gonna be
Oh,
held.
it was like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
We're off and running.
Yeah.
There was no,
I was not aware of that until I read it.
no time difference.
Yeah.
So are you gonna bring it up?
we can revisit that.
I appreciate that. And that way, all these folks that are here tonight, maybe they'd like to come to one of the police meetings. We have them up at our end of town.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I also see that the, Mr. Tom Marsh is contracted by the PA Game Commission to pick up deer hit along the road. Do we utilize him?
Yes,
Okay,
yep, and he's very good too.
good. All right, nothing to report on Northeastern York County Emergency Management Association, agency, sorry?
Yeah, yes, they do have just a very slight update, and it's that they're continuing to work on the TMI plan and the emergency operations plan, and that they did all of their new year paperwork and everything's been updated and published. But they note that county communications, or at least that's what I'm assuming, because they just wrote communications are still having issues, but I remember in previous reports, I think that was with they were having county problems. So they're still addressing those issues, and then that's all he had in there.
Any comments? No? Okay. So that takes us down to subdivision and land development plans. Let's go into the January 27th Planning Commission minutes.
And that really just segues into the developer that's here tonight for 25 Devco Drive, and their action report and documents follow.
Okay. And now, sir, you are up.
Can you hit the button? Yeah, I must have timed out.
There you go. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
My name's Dave Vieri, I'm the engineer and planner for the project, and Alan's here representing the ownership. And give you the overview,
Yes, please go ahead and tell everyone about your project. And then what we'll do is we'll get into the action report that was issued. And that's what you'll tick down is the action report. Sure. Five or six? Oh, okay.
So briefly, this project, it's an existing site at the south end of Devco Drive, or the cul-de-sac. It's on the west side of the cul-de-sac.
This is the ambulance.
You can see it's an existing building, part office, part industrial. Changed ownership just this past year. ESF Investments has purchased the property, and the operating company in there is ESC Independent Services, the lease company.
Excuse me if I may, for everybody out in the audience, this is back behind McDonald's and Tire Shop back in there, just so you know what area of the township we're talking about.
The shopping center is like a stormwater detention basin that's kind of on the other side of that.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. So the site is going to be used by ESC management as truck storage, basically parking, and the building will be used for routine truck repair and maintenance. One of the building alterations will be add several garage doors along the back and along the front of the building. Truck access. The existing site has
Just that.
parking lot along the north
Everything's
end
open on action.
and another parking lot along the
I'm gonna
east
call
side
you
of
for
the aircraft front. And there's existing fields where the box and the south end. The area behind the building to the rest of the left on the plan is currently mostly lawn, and that's where we're looking at adding asphalt for truck parking and storage. It's gonna be a fenced area, the fence will have a visual screen, so it'll be visually buffered from anyone on any side of the property. Again, the building's existing, it's about 20,000 square feet, no other additions are proposed to the building. Stormwater is being incorporated to meet the most current requirements of DEP and township stormwater. There are no new sewer connections or water connections or anything like that. That's it in a nutshell, what you've seen.
Okay. Very good. And then to the action report, if you just want to start going down, starting with Gordon L. Brown and Associates letter dated November 6, 2025, and the open items there, and let us know. I don't think anything is closed yet. We just issued this letter. Or is there anything on this letter that is closed? We don't believe so.
And really, at this point, it's mostly administrative items.
Yeah.
Still open. The plan itself is really reviewed, we've gone through several iterations with the engineering.
Mm-hmm.
I believe at this point, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everything has been satisfied from a plan standpoint and a calculation standpoint. It's really things like final signatures and agreements. There's a sidewalk deferral agreement that has to be executed for the future installation of a piece of sidewalk right to the cul-de-sac and to make it property.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting for the final NPDES permits, and that would be an outstanding condition. It's going to be,
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's primarily, this is investigative items that are at this point.
Do you have a copy of the letter with you?
I have a copy of the response letter where I outlined the comments from November 6th.
You're talking about that.
Can you go give him a copy of this for me, please?
Are you referring to the action report?
Yeah, I'm referring to the action. Okay.
Does he want this one?
He had Byron's.
Oh,
Thank you,
okay.
though. Yeah. So starting with item 4B, and then just go ahead and verbally, go down that list. That's what we typically do here. Yep.
Yeah, item 4B is the owner surveyor and engineer signatures.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, we do that when we're getting ready to have things approved. So that, the signature blocks are all on the plan. I think my seal is already on there anyway, but I'll be signing those.
Yep.
The sewer authority signature block, that had been commented that we did that signature block for the sewer authority as well.
Mm-hmm.
The minute letter approving relocated service, where we have the, rain garden and the north end of the site, goes through current service, so we have to rally around the rain garden. And we reach out to that, and we're waiting for the follow on that.
Okay.
That'll have to be coordinated.
Okay.
I mentioned the MPDS permit was under review, that includes the activity and settlement plan as well. Surety, we did, I think just yesterday, so we have.
I received it, I have reviewed the surety and sent township and the developer my recommendation.
And they're fine with that, so we would have to, again, with their bank, we have a credit on that.
Yep. Yep.
4G, the sidewalks, approval of the waiver, again, that's with regards to.
Yeah, it is actually.
And that's really just the first sidewalk construction.
Oh, yes,
So
no,
the actual
no,
sidewalks.
Yeah.
So, we should turn
So when they're-
That's it. Yeah. So we haven't typically read off of the stormwater letter, but apparently it was an item that stuck out. So in this case, we're gonna go ahead and count it as one of your open items. So that's item 3 from Byron's letter dated November 13th, 2025. Okay. I'd have to defer to Byron.
What was item 3?
The fee.
The fee,
It's,
the $3 million fee.
so you have 2 new structures, so it'll be, I'll look it up here, I think it's in our fee schedule under stormwater, I think it's 5,000 plus, the second one is 25%, so, so, you just give me a second, I'll pull it up here on my phone and take a look at it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's approximately like 6250 or something like that.
Well, and the agreements will end up coming back to the board anyways, and that number will be in there, so.
Yeah, it's based on 2 facilities.
It is. So then the next item, we get to York County Planning Commission's letter dated November 13th, 2025. And if you, some of those are repeat.
The city ownership, I think there was a question just about the operating company versus the actual ownership. And I believe we clarified that, and the plan should be accurate.
Okay.
Listing those in the signature block. Letter from Texas Eastern stating the conditions of use of land and equipment for the providing Texas Eastern, I'm not aware of that one, I'm not aware of that one. Where that came from. I don't think there's a Texas Eastern.
I'd have to defer. I don't remember hearing anything about that.
Well, that's a county comment, so I'm not aware, we didn't make it,
These might be like blanket comments they make, but none of those are mentioned. There's another rec one, the ASC minutes. Just make those as a standard comment.
I've been seeing that comment a good bit lately. you want to keep moving on, take a look through it, so.
Well, we'll move to that last one, and then the sewage planning module approval.
The sewer planning, we really, we don't see any need for that because the office staff is really gonna be not any greater, probably less than it was before.
Do you need an exemption?
We haven't pursued the exemption, you could have to, typically have to do a plan.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, as far as
Yeah,
there
I
is
would send
no
it to
Texas
my
Eastern
application,
line
yeah.
there, so that comment can be crossed off.
What was that, Byron? I didn't,
Texas Eastern comment.
Yeah.
can be crossed off.
what about the Columbia Gas one?
There's no major, you know, that's referring to if they have like a transmission line or something, there's no transmission line in that area.
And then the last item would be all comments per MPL's memo dated February 4th. That was something that we got after the meeting. So that'll just also have to be addressed as well.
Yeah, that doesn't look like our letter that has something about the comments. I don't understand this comment.
What?
I'm reading the bottom of this report. It's talking about the NPL Walker letter dated May 6, 2025. I don't think that was our comment.
No, my letter says February 4th, 2026.
Yeah, so there was a specific typo on this somewhere.
I don't know what letter you
But
have.
I saw the letter that you're referring to, and, I think we addressed the only action item on that letter.
Okay.
Copy of it.
You know what? I think Lehman printed out the original draft and we caught mistakes. So I bet you Byron's office has an original draft that he just handed off to you.
Yeah, we don't have one land either.
Huh?
No one land either, so.
Yeah. Okay, well then, all right, so moving on from that, then we'll go down the waivers. And so if you want to just go over each one of your waivers, I don't think you have to go over the time waiver.
The preliminary plan waiver, really is a fairly minor project, there are no students, no changing property lines, no building addition. So we felt the preliminary plan could be reviewed fairly and not bring staff agrees with that. The sidewalk around the waiver, where we can control it until an appropriate time, and the sidewalks are built. And then likewise, adding the waiver 6 months later, which is basically saying that once the township says you need to install sidewalk, it's 6 months later. So we added that note to the cover sheet, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
And all lights and shields must be adjustable in locations where you don't plan. That is something we just recently did address. The building has, already wall-mounted lights, and we're gonna be replacing those. So we have mounted kind of on the wall on both sides of the building. So those are gonna be replaced with more efficient fixtures that will have less glare. And we provide some clarification on the research update as well.
Yep, we did receive all of that, so that's good. Huh?
They're shielded.
Mm-hmm. Adjustable shields.
And so again, I think from a planning standpoint, I think we're in good shape.
So really, it's two waivers. You have your preliminary plan waiver, and then you have your sidewalk waiver, and planning commission wanted it added, that there's a 6-month note that needs put on the plan. And then, of course, it'd be up to the Board of Supervisors on if you agree with that. Where do sidewalks end over there? I believe they end over at Sunset.
I'm not sure honestly, but it's not as easy as it says.
Correct.
So the voluntary is the time waiver's not
Yeah, no,
cemetery.
right.
Does the board have any questions for the applicant? Byron, any comments?
No, they addressed my stormwater comments, it's, reviewed the juries.
Staff?
Housekeeping.
If you did so approve, it appears they have all of the items on Gordon L. Brown's letter. I actually wouldn't worry about the stormwater comment because that would be on MPL Law Firm's memo. So if you were to so approve, it would be Gordon L. Brown's items and then Andy or MPL Law Firm's memo dated February 4th, 2026. And then, of course, you'll address the waivers on the back page, which is 2 waivers to preliminary plan and sidewalks with a note.
So the other open items then is statement of ownership.
They clarified statement of ownership. It appears the Texas Eastern and the Columbia Gas comments from York County are addressed, and the sewage planning module approval is not necessary.
Okay. So then, this is, I will make a motion then to approve this as a final plan with the following open items. Item 4B, 4C, 4D, 4E, and 4F. I'm omitting the sidewalks because that will not be open in a minute.
Correct.
Items from the Gordon L. Brown Associates letter dated November 13th. Items from the York County Planning Commission letter dated November 13th. And lastly, the applicant shall address all comments per MPL Law Firm's memo dated February 4th, 2026, with the following waivers requested and approved. Preliminary plan, sidewalks, but we must add the 6-month note waiver to the sidewalks. All lights need shields, must be adjustable, and locations need to be on the plan noted, which I think they are.
That's correct.
So that is my motion. Is there a second to that motion?
Just one
second.
Discussion?
Just one question, is the York County Planning Commission letter the correct date in the motion? I thought it was the 21st.
Is it the November 13th or the 21st?
York County's letter is actually closed. There's no open items from York County.
All right, then we'll strike that from my motion, the items from York County Planning Commission.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the only discussion.
Any others? Call for the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Attorney Miller, I'll draft the conditional approval letter and send it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us into our solicitor's report. Andy Miller is our solicitor. He is currently on vacation, but he's with us tonight via telephone. So Andy, you have the floor.
Good evening, everybody. On our report, the first item that we have is the data center ordinance. What we've done at this point is take the comments from the January 20th public meeting, which were received at the meeting, and there were some written comments submitted as well. We've reviewed all of those comments, made changes to the ordinance and recommendations on those comments, and we've prepared and distributed prior to the meeting a revised draft of the ordinance to the board with our comments in it. What I would like to accomplish this evening, there's a couple of items that the board will have to decide on, and then from there, we would like to get a motion from the board to submit the revised ordinance to the York County Planning Commission and the Township Planning Commission. Upon doing that, they have a 30-day review period for the ordinance. It will also be on both of their agendas for public meetings, so the public will have the opportunity to comment on those revised drafts. And then, as was mentioned, I believe, earlier in the meeting, there will have to be a public hearing subsequent to the planning commission recommendations, and the board could schedule that public hearing this evening. So my draft that can be released to the public, and we can put together a draft that has some comments in it based on our recommendations, and those will be the drafts. We can put out a copy with our comments as to the changes that were made and the reasons for those, as well as a clean revised draft, which is what would go to the planning commissions for their review. So the items that I think the board still needs to make final decisions on are the inclusion of the Bitzer property and the inclusion of the Lowe property, which was requested previously, and I think also requested again this evening in the public comments. Those properties are, the Bitzer property is parcel 26 MI 51C, and the Lowe property is parcel 26 113. Our recommendation, looking at the zoning map and the proposed other properties to be included in the overlay, is to include those two properties in the overlay. But ultimately, that's a decision that the board has to make and give us direction on. The second item that we'd like the board to give us direction on in order to finalize a draft to go to the planning commissions is whether the proposed ordinance would be a permitted use or a special exception. I think I've spoken to this previously, as well as the township's planners, consultant planners have spoken to it as well. And I think we've both recommended that the board consider making this, or still consider making this, a permitted use given the level of detail in the ordinance and the extensive amount of health and safety provisions in the ordinance. We feel that the board can adequately make sure that all of those are addressed, and because the ordinance is so comprehensive, that can be handled in the land development phase of a project, similar to how other types of development in the township have been handled in the past. And then the last item is just based on some questions that came up in the process of working on these amendments, and also the process of, or the January 20th meeting. And that question is whether the board wants to reserve to itself, to the board, the ability to grant waivers and modifications of the provisions in the data center ordinance. And in order to do that, if that's the board's desire, we would recommend that the data center ordinance be made a standalone ordinance and then incorporated into the zoning ordinance with respect to where the overlay district would be located, and the inclusion or creation of the overlay district, but the detailed regulations be in a standalone ordinance, and we would then provide in that standalone ordinance that waivers from those regulations would be granted by the Board of Supervisors. Any kind of use variance to allow the use in an area other than the overlay district would still have to go before the zoning hearing board, but things related to the specific regulations in the ordinance would be decided by the Board of Supervisors. So those are the three items I'd just like the board to deliberate on this evening and give us direction on, and then we feel the ordinance is ready to be moved on to the planning commissions.
Okay, thank you, Andy. put that in a nutshell, what we have done for the last few months is brainstorm. We had the fire hall meeting. We tried to answer everybody's questions and comments at that point. We had meetings with the planning commission to utilize their mindset on this, since they are into the planning phase as well. So what we're doing at tonight is gathering this up, ran it through the filter of our attorney. Our attorney, his charge is to keep the township from being challenged in court. So we attempted to create a zoning ordinance that is structured enough to build it the way we want it to be built, but not be challenged in court with a team of lawyers that would cost the township lots and lots of money. So that's the balancing act we're at tonight. And tonight, we did go through the final review. We did, I do want to report, we did have an executive meeting prior to this meeting tonight to go over attorney's recommendations and advice to us on how we proceed with this, because this is very sensitive and very complicated, so we needed that advice. So that's where we're at. So we changed a few subtle things to keep us out of trouble, and so that's where we're at.
Thanks for that, Dave. So, take the 3 points. First and foremost, regarding the requests from the Lowe's and Bitzers. Adding their properties into it ultimately seems to reduce risk, meaning
Yes.
that it would take us out of potential challenge of spot zoning. And for those folks that read the newspaper, Engine Company came up with spot zoning in Manchester Township. So again, following kind of the game plan is to minimize our risk. I think it makes sense to include those properties in there for that reason and the reasons that the owners of those properties stated. It creates some additional buffer to the housing area down the Saginaw area.
Do you agree with that, Darrell?
I do.
Okay, well then, I'd like to make a motion, then, an official motion, that we include in the overlay
Yes.
the low property, which is parcel number 26-000-01-0113 into the overlay. Also, we include the Bitzer property, which is parcel number 26-000-M as in Mary, I as in Ida, 0051 into the overlay.
C as in Charlie as
That's it.
well. Yeah, there's a
C.
C.
0051.C. That's a motion. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Discussion. I'll reiterate that our attorney is highly recommending this. This keeps us from being
Challenged.
Reduces our risk.
legal exposure.
Reduces our risk.
Call for the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. It's moving on to second, Dean.
Yep. So moving from special exception to permitted use in a standalone ordinance, and I think if I understood that correctly, it's still, given the level of detail that are in the ordinance and hearing feedback from other engineers and planners and other council, it just creates a more cohesive picture and guidance to developers coming in, and it still allows us to control the things that we can control, and still provides, avenues for the public to sit in on the planning commission meetings and or the supervisor meetings as they move forward.
Mhm.
Can you use a brief total of permitted use versus special exception?
I probably won't do it justice, but I'll try. So,
Do
special,
you, do you want, do you want me to?
yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
please.
Thank you.
So a special exception is a permitted use in which the zoning hearing board can place conditions on it. So with a special exception, if the applicant meets all of the requirements of the ordinance, then the zoning hearing board is required to grant the special exception and approve the special exception. Objectors can, once the applicant has met all of their criteria, objectors can put forward health and safety concerns. They do have to prove with a high degree of certainty that the health and safety concerns generated by the particular application are greater than would be generated by a similar use. And at that point, the zoning hearing board can consider those and can put additional conditions on an approval, or potentially, depending on the gravity of them, deny an approval. So that's the special exception procedure. With a permitted use, the use is allowed. The applicant has to establish that they meet all of the criteria of the ordinance before the Board of Supervisors during the land development plan review phase. So in either case, they have to meet all of the criteria in the ordinance. It's just a matter of whether there's a hearing before the zoning hearing board first, or they have to prove they meet the zoning ordinance criteria in front of the Board of Supervisors.
So, okay. You're welcome.
Bottom line is, based on my understanding, it gives us the strength that we need.
And I'd like to add that our professional planner is adamant about going this direction.
Correct.
And our attorney has given us the recommendation that this is the way we go. So, do we need a motion on that, Andy?
Yes, since you made a motion on adding the other properties, if you want to make a motion on that item, or remember the second question is whether if the amendment is made, if all these regulations are incorporated into the zoning ordinance, and I will say there's no other use that has this level of regulations in the zoning ordinance. If it's incorporated, if these regulations are all incorporated into the zoning ordinance, then any deviation from them would require a variance from the zoning hearing board and a separate hearing on that. So the item for consideration along with the permitted use is, if we make the ordinance a standalone ordinance, then we can provide in that ordinance that outside of zoning, the Board of Supervisors would be able to grant modifications to the specific regulations. Say if there's a modification from one of the aesthetic criteria of the building or something like that, the Board of Supervisors would be able to grant that instead of bifurcating the process and having the zoning hearing board decide one thing and the Board of Supervisors have to decide something else. So that goes along with this. You can make one motion as to both, or you can make separate motions as to the special exception permitted use and then standalone ordinance versus zoning ordinance amendment.
Okay. So just before we entertain a motion for that, I'd like to kind of break down what he said in layman's term. That gives the supervisors the ability, which they utilize on almost, well, every single plan that comes in. Because we have a waiver and it's negotiated between the parties and openly. And so waivers are asked for, denied, traded for something else. So that gives the township the ability to mold this even finer to fit the land or the situation. So, am I right on that?
You're correct. Things that we're not allowed to put in the ordinance, it's negotiated items. Just like we did, you know, with Hillwood, for instance, there's things that aren't in the ordinance, but, you know, we require certain things then in the agreement based off of those waivers.
And I will add that the applicant would still have to show a hardship
Correct.
in requesting the waiver. It would just be at their discretion or at their whim what they want waivers from. They'd have to show that there's some kind of hardship to justify the waiver as well.
And a financial hardship is not acceptable.
That's correct.
Based on all that information, and I'll make a motion that we move the draft data center ordinance from a special exception into a permitted use and make it a standalone ordinance. And in that standalone ordinance for data center, that the Board of Supervisors retains the exceptions and waivers for any deviation from the data center ordinance. Does that cover it?
I'll
Yes,
second
I think
that.
that's correct.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So I just want to make sure we are all crystal clear that permitted use is standalone. So if and when anyone does come in with a plan, they go through the process of staff meeting, then they go to planning commission, they go to the Board of Supervisors with the land development plan, and every step along the way, the public is involved with the comment period and questions and that sort of thing. So just wanted to make sure that we reiterate that. I'll call for the vote. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then setting the date for the public hearing.
I'd like to,
Can I first get a motion as well then to forward the draft as revised per the prior motions to the planning commissions?
I make a motion to forward the data center ordinance to the York County and to East Manchester Township's planning commissions for review.
Second that?
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. I'd like to make a motion that we have a hearing on the zoning ordinance on Wednesday, April 8th, 2026, 6 p.m. at the Union Fire Hall, located at 201 York Street, Manchester, Pennsylvania.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
I just want to add that it's not just a zoning ordinance anymore. It would effectively be a zoning ordinance and a standalone ordinance.
Okay, zoning ordinance and
That's- Yeah, that's correct. And I
Zoning
think
ordinance
it's,
and
I
standalone
think it's fine and appropriate to hold a public hearing on both of those.
Okay, so there'll be two distinct separate hearings that night.
That's correct. We can do it that way.
Okay. Did we voted on that, right? That was just clarification.
That was discussion. I don't think you voted.
No, we didn't vote on the date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any further discussion on that motion?
No.
April 8th, Wednesday, April 8th, 2026, 6 p.m., Union Fire Hall, 201 York Street, Manchester. Call for the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, moving on then, the only other agenda item associated with my report this evening are the park rules and regulations. And in consultation with staff, these rules and regulations should be adopted by ordinance because there could be enforcement actions by the township or even potentially the police department related to them, so there will have to be an ordinance in place to adopt those. So we had prepared a draft ordinance. I believe, Christie, that has been submitted to the rec board and reviewed by them, is that correct?
That's correct, and they only had one minor change to number 12. It currently says injuring or killing wild or domestic animals is prohibited. They wanted to see some kind of lingo in there that refers to threatening, like for instance, chasing Canadian geese or something, you know what I mean? Like just
Okay,
a little bit more language is all.
okay,
And then that
So
was it. They recommended it then.
okay. So, the board can decide whether it wants to make that change in the proposed ordinance. And then, the next step would be a motion to authorize us to advertise it for adoption, and that could be adopted at your March meeting. You could advertise it for then.
I do have one question on the draft, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
It's number 13. It says I'll just read it there. So, pets and service animals contained in a carrier or on a leash are permitted at township parks. And the second sentence of that item says, owners/caretakers of such pets/service animals shall control the animals at all times. The only question on that is, I thought John Rudy Park has kind of that gated area where the owner can be in there, but the pet's no longer on the leash.
John Rudy Park has their own rules, that's completely separate from this.
That answers my
These are for like
question.
Dalberton and Saginaw, our
Okay.
local parks, yep.
I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yep.
So where do we stand? What do we need to do here? Parks, rules, and regulations, Sandy?
We would just need are you okay with the change that was recommended by the rec board?
I think we are.
Yes.
Okay, then I would just, the only motion we need is a motion to authorize us to advertise it for adoption at the March meeting.
I'll make a motion to advertise the park rules and regulations with the modification to item 12 as stated earlier for the March, what's the next meeting, March 8th? When's the next board meeting? Sorry. I don't know. I'm sorry. Is it March 8th? I'm sorry, I gotta look. March 8th. Someone's.
Oh.
Sorry, I was at sidebar there.
That's all right.
March 10th is our next township meeting.
So it's March 10th. Board of Supervisors.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
That's all that I had in my report, unless there's any questions from anybody.
No.
No. Anybody? Staff?
Mm-mm.
Okay, thank you, Andy.
Okay, thank you.
Engineers report. Byron?
North Sherman Street, I had a meeting last week again, and coordinated with Chris Collins about their sewer force main. Everything's been satisfied with PennDOT, so it's out for bid for spring construction. So that's nothing anymore that we have to do on that project. Everything's taken care of. Espresso Way, I did talk to PennDOT today. They have not issued a permit. They said they have 9 more days before they have to issue the permit. So it's being approved. So that's where I'm at. I mean, they have everything. I don't have anything. There's no outstanding comments. I'm just waiting for them to issue the permit. And then the other thing I have on my list, just to let you know, since last meeting, the township has received a multimodal transportation grant for Willow Springs Lane in the amount of $300,000. So that, Shane is just getting ready to put that out for bid, and that'll help cover expenses. Hopefully it covers everything there, but,
Not quite, but it's close.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we asked for like 315,000 and they gave us 300.
Yep.
So. Do you have any other comments on my report?
No, but I'd like to comment, I'd like to thank Joe Diorsi, and I already did, on his help in pushing along that money's coming our way. Any questions for Byron?
No.
Okay, moving on, Public Works report.
Any questions on my report?
No, sir, you're kind of busy.
A little bit. Second thing I have is the liquor fuels audit for 2024. Everything was good on that audit we passed.
Yeah, I reviewed that, we did well.
Yep.
Any comment?
No, just, thanks for the job you and your team did.
Oh, I'll let them know, yep. I have two more things here. Two traffic signals we've been dealing with here. I know Mr. Elfner, I did speak to you the other day, you didn't call, but, he brought up the other week about the turning lane on George at Bayshore School. I looked into that. It is working correctly to a point. You have to pull up far enough. So either, and whoever paved the road, painted the lines, or put the loop in for the light, somebody screwed up one of them too. So it's not on us, it's back on, or Sheets or the builder or whatever, to move that loop back far enough that it actually signals the turn lane. So, the other one I had, now this is from a while back, PennDOT runs slow sometimes, so bear with me, but, the turning lane on Canal Road at Locust Point. So if you're coming from Dover, turning onto Locust Point, we got rid of the yellow flashing yield arrow. It's now either green or red. There is no in between. It was taking trucks too long to get turned there, and you can't see far enough around that corner. People are coming down the hill, so just wanted to give everybody a heads up. The sign was finally moved today for the yellow flashing, but it has been on yellow, or it has been green here for a while now. So if you see any problems or anything, please let me know. You know, I'm trying to get it tuned in a little bit better, but the PennDOT takes a while sometimes. So. I did move the stop bar back also. They gotta learn how to. They gotta learn how to turn the corner, Scott. So yeah, they're coming literally across the intersection. So, but trying to make it better, and I added a no right turn there, coming out of Locust Point also on red. No right turn on red.
Yeah, thanks for the advance notice of that.
Oh, the arrow?
No, the no turn on red.
Oh yeah, that one will get you. Yeah.
Fortunately, no police officers there, but yeah, I finally realized. When did you put it up? Out of curiosity.
Oh, that's over a month or more than that.
Well, I finally saw it this weekend, so thank you.
Let me ask this: can you see it?
Yeah, you can see it.
I just got a complaint today that the sign is too small.
Well, it's small, but I think it's also regulation for MUTCD.
It is,
right?
but I can add another one on the pole.
It'd be helpful because I'll be honest, I didn't see it, and then someone stopped in front of me, and I'm like, why aren't they turning? And then my wife looked up and said, "Well, idiot, there's
no turn sign." Yeah, I think what happened was with it not being there originally, now you're not looking for it now.
Exactly.
And it is up there at a normal
much
light
like the
where you
stop
do
signs
that.
where we put out, you put out like the variable message signs
Yeah.
to indicate the.
Yeah.
So that change just totally lost on me.
Yeah.
But I know it's there now.
Yep. That's all I have then, gentlemen, unless you have any more questions for me.
Any questions for Shane?
No.
I'd like to thank the new driver for coming back to dead end, Locust Street with the salt truck, what helped him?
Locust Street, top of the hill in Saginaw? Yeah, I don't know if he was really supposed to be back there, but okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
We have a lot of new guys.
Yeah. And part-time guys. I do utilize part-time guys, I can't. Yep, no problem.
Okay, managers report, Northeastern York County Sewer Authority.
So the minutes that I'm seeing are from November. So they're fairly old, but that's the last ones that they got to us. So in that discussion, they were talking about doing a loan refinancing. They're hoping that the rates come down. And if they do, then they're going to refinance to lock in a lower rate. And then the only other thing to note in their minutes was that they are filing for an LSA grant in order to replace the Poplar Estates pump station. And then, of course, our new guy, now it's not in these minutes because he didn't officially start till January, but William Blanchetti officially started in January. Yep. That's all I have for Northeastern, York County Sewer Authority.
Zoning officers report?
Yes, we don't have any zoning hearing board meetings for February, but we do have of course, the planning commission on the 24th. And I don't have my other things for that. Do I need to sign here?
That planning commission meeting is likely going to be the ordinance reviewed, as long as, you know, we have it back in clean form from Attorney Miller. If not, then it'll go to March. Otherwise, I'm not sure. Do you have any, did they say they were coming to planning commission?
We have a final plan to review for 265 Steamboat.
Okay, so 265 Steamboat Tiger Trash got bought out, and what's the company name? Costella. Oh, I'm sorry, Casella. And they just want to put on a small addition,
Yeah, it's the existing building.
which it would be their office space.
Right.
So it's not a very major, but it'll be a final land development plan.
So, Christie,
Sure.
once we know if the draft will be back for the date of signing ordinance, will that be published on the website so people know we can work on and attend the planning commission meeting?
Correct, yes, because that's the same one that'll get advertised.
Right, and if it's not the February one, then it would be planning commission March.
Correct. Yep.
So, say, watch the website, so it's out there, and you want to participate, you can.
Yep.
The only other thing I want to, I don't know if you want to announce it or not, but we have a new codes officer. Seth, and he's doing real good so far. Me and Christy's been training him on everything that he needs to know, and I'm ready to give him that position. So.
So Kate doesn't have to do it
Yeah.
anymore.
But he is doing well.
Yes. Yep. Yep, he is. He's picking up pretty quick.
Other than that, that's about all I have. Unless you have questions about the reports.
Any questions for Kate?
I have none.
Thanks, Kate. Recreation Board.
So I decided to call the recreation board meeting because we got a new member on it, Laura Brenner, and we had two existing members. They just weren't getting very much steam, and so you know what, I was like, what a fresh start, a new year. So I called a meeting for February, and I taught them how to run a meeting, and we even actually had some business to address, which was great. One was being that parks regulations and rules, and the other item was a Little League requested to utilize the Saginaw ball field. So they addressed that, and it's Northeastern Little League, and they were authorized to use it for the year with certain dates and timeframes and things. So if we did get another request, or it would go straight to the recreation board. So they seem like they have a lot of ideas. And one thing that they were very concerned about is how do they get information out to people. And I explained to them, you know, we put it out on our website, obviously, and though we don't have a Facebook page, they could do something like Mike Fisher did for emergency management. He made a Facebook page for that. I told them they were more than welcome to do that for recreation. And they seemed interested in Savvy Citizen, when I was talking to them about that. So that actually segues right into my next line item on the agenda, which is the notification system Savvy Citizen. We investigate it with our IT guy and even spoke to multiple municipalities. There's several municipalities that have Savvy Citizen. It can do a lot. There are things that could become excessive if we don't make boundaries with the system. Also, people aren't going to want to be notified constantly if we put too much out. So there would have to be some kind of guidelines on that. We'd have to sit down and talk about if we did implement Savvy Citizen. And in my report, I went over fees and, the pros. And I even compared it to email blasts, which our IT guy does not recommend. There are a lot of security issues with it. And it doesn't have as many capabilities as Savvy Citizen. Savvy Citizen also does a cross-platform integration. So when we get a new website, which I have not yet started to investigate with all the stuff happening recently, but that'll happen eventually this year. So Savvy Citizen would, be able to be transferable from website to website. And, if we wanted to update something, we would only have to go to Savvy Citizen to do it, and it would automatically update the website as well. And then, of course, the calendar and stuff would be at our fingertips on our cell phones and things. So there's a lot of pros. If this is something you want to address when we get a new website, I think I remember you guys saying that. But I couldn't find clear direction in the minutes. So if you want to give clear direction tonight for me on if I should reintroduce this, with a new website, or if this is something you want to implement sooner, that's what I need to know.
My recollection was we would put a new website so it ties in. Because if you want these notifications to tie in your current website, that means you're going to spend time, effort, energy, and work on it, and then you're going to rework it when you put the new website in.
Yeah.
So I'd sooner spend once than spend twice. That's my recommendation.
That's a good use of time.
Yeah, I agree with Dean on that, and then you could also start developing guidelines and how you want it used and everything.
Right.
I'm still, I don't want to get too much social media stuff out there because we can't handle what we have now.
Right.
Well, and I think what'd be good is to probably maybe put the bullet points out there for folks that they could comment on, be like, hey, I like this feature or that feature. Not every feature, but kind of things that we're interested in. And like anything, rather than jump into the deep end of the pool, using that analogy, just slowly wade in and like, hey, here's 4 or 5 features of it we're thinking about. Which ones would the public be more inclined to like embrace by use of, and get that kind of feedback so that when we do move it, we can kind of focus on the priorities that we all benefit from.
I'm just going to write notes real quick.
Well, I'm very interested in providing for the citizens out there, basically, excuse my phrase, but heads up. Heads up, hey, reminder about the meeting coming up at the fire hall for the zoning ordinances. That sort of thing, a blast out there. Because life gets busy. People are running kids to dance recitals and soccer practice and who knows what. I understand that. So any medium that we can have to remind them of what's going on with us is beneficial.
I agree.
So that would be a part of those boundaries. I agree with Daryl. He's absolutely right. We're struggling to keep up with the website now as it is. We're a very small team who wears a significant amount of hats, each of us, and to constantly have to remind everybody to go and check our stuff would become cumbersome. It takes staff and time, and my board already knows that I've put in significant amount of extra hours into East Manchester Township, into my personal life and things, and so does some of my other staff. So this, that would lines would have to get drawn there for sure. But yes, I can start to create some kind of guidelines, you know, and come up with some ideas, and then we pitch it, you know.
Okay, so I think we got
Thank you.
direction we want to go there. Moving into correspondence, York County Regional Significance, Newbury Township, there's going to be a Love's Truck Stop. If, you want to put that, map
Oh, yeah, yeah, yep.
Weren't we getting the Buc-ee's at the old sheets, okay?
Yeah, what is
Not
going
yet.
in the old sheets, Kate? I get asked every week.
I did not get anything yet, unfortunately. Sneak shot.
Bear with me here.
So basically, if you're going north up the trail and you want to get on at exit 13 on 83, right before the bridge, you go under the bridge, and it's going to be down there next to that pizza shop,
It's your
right?
driving
Yeah.
markets on the left-hand side.
In the back of it, the old 83.
So, we all know that York County they do, all seriously need this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's good news, bad news, right? Before they get to the warehouses, it does provide a truck stop.
I mean, parking this at like 70 or 80 bucks.
It's quite significant. I mean, just looking at the drawing, I don't remember the numbers. But that's the information that was shared with us. And
Yep.
it's in Newbury Township, right?
Mm-hmm, yep.
So, they're going through their stuff.
And if York County Economic Development created this and helped push this through, kudos to them, because these are needed throughout York County
Oh,
in
yeah.
strategic places.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because truck drivers need to sleep, and
What?
it's okay.
Bills.
I'll make a motion, we approve and pay all bills.
Second that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Takes us down to supervisor.
Approval of
pay the
bills.
bills.
Yep.
Dean,
I have no additional comments at this time.
Darrell.
Thanking the Public Works Department for all the labor they put in over the couple snows we had.
Thank you, Darrell. Sure. The other night I had the opportunity to travel north past the incinerator. If you're coming from 83 Diner at 30, and you're going down past the incinerator, please drive that sometime and take notice to our lights compared to other townships' lights. And what I mean by industrial lighting. When you're coming down over past the incinerator, you can see night, I don't want to use the analogy night and day, but the pinpoint lights compared to our lights, which are downward facing. You can really see the difference, and I'm proud of that. Because that's the lighting that we incorporate throughout all our lighting districts. And kudos to staff for making sure that that's done like that. As for our zoning ordinance tonight, that we passed along to the York County Planning Commission and our Township Planning Commission, I feel that it's a very, very robust in criteria. It's going to control the individuals coming in here, and we feel the most important thing that we feel it is defendable in court. So that's important. It's some of the items will be touch and go, but we tried to stretch that envelope as far as we can without getting in trouble. And we got to remember that this is a living document. We're not always going to get it right the first time, but we can change this document as things go on. And also, kudos to your new drivers in the snow. This past storm they did very well.
Thank you.
And welcome to Seth coming in as the zoning enforcement officer. He's going to have big job to do. With that, I don't think we need executive session. Do we need executive, Andy? You still with us?
He wants to.
He went back to sleep.
No, I am, I was on mute. No, I don't think we need executive session for anything else.
Well, thank you for being with us tonight, Andy.
Yeah, thank you for letting me participate this way.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Streaming off?
Soon here.